So level, wait. Okay, so let me continue. So level 9 doesn't allow you to be exam ready yet, right? Level 9 give you the fundamental knowledge that you need to know on this chapter, right? You know there are 5 drawers. You know there is something related to measurement, base quantity, derived quantities, scalar and vector quantities, and graph. And you know a little bit about what is important in drawer 1, which is measurement. You know a bit about base quantity, the 7 quantities. You know what is definition of derived quantities. You know what is scalar and vector. And you know why the graph is important to do the investigations, right? And how to do investigations, right? So you know these things. That is level 9. But to be exam ready, you're not yet. You're not yet exam ready. How to be exam ready? You need to do past year questions to be familiarized with the type of questions in the exam, and also to be familiarized with what type of answer the examiner is expecting you to fill up in the exams, right? So now, imagine now, let me just pull out this thing. Okay. Today's class, I'm going to talk a bit more than usual, right? So I hope it doesn't bore you too much, right? Especially for the Saudi students, Jaden, who is coming later, and you, Eric, just woke up. Wait, Jaden said that she's waiting. I did not see him yet. Wait, let me just fix that first. Just give me a while, sorry. Okay. Good morning, Jaden. Okay. Now, let me set the expectation first. What are we expecting today? Okay, I'm going to repeat this for the 3rd time for Strand, for the 2nd time for Eric, for the 1st time for you. Right, but I think this is important. Today, we are not going to learn new chapter as I written in the class on force and motions. I think it's important for us to do. No, Jaden went out. Right, wait, that message is supposed to for Jaden. All right, okay. Eric and Xuan, sorry for the disruptions. Just be patient a bit and wait for Jaden. Okay, while waiting for Jaden, should I continue? Okay, let's continue on this part. This is the picture, right? So now I need you to imagine that you are going into the Malaysia IGCSE exam, right? Now imagine that you are going, tomorrow is your IGCSE exam. Xuan, imagine that tomorrow is your SPM. Eric, imagine that tomorrow is your IGCSE. Oh yes, Xuan, you are also taking IGCSE. Right, so let's imagine that now. Let's hope Jaden is stable in his internet connections. Jaden, if you are ready, let us know.
I'm ready.
Yep. Thank you for coming. I know yesterday you slept late because you went for the very important event. Right. Now, I'm going to repeat this for the 3rd time for Xuan and the 2nd time for Eric and the 1st time for you, what we are trying to do today. We're not going to learn force and motion this week. We're going to postpone it for next week. right? But today, what I think is even more important is to explain why revision is important and how do we do the revisions, right? So the same question that I asked for us to Xuan and also Eric, I'm going to ask it to you also. Just give some thoughts. Last session that we studied this chapter, measurement, right? And this measurement, I think even everyone, including yourself, Jaden, we got very good results. I think you got 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, right? If my memory serves me well. So that tells us that your level of understanding of this chapter at that time, 2 weeks ago, was at 9. 9 means 9. Okay. What do you think that your level is right now? Whether it's still 9 or whether it's something lower, right? Don't worry that I'm going to embarrass you by asking you or testing you on some questions. That's not my intention, and I have no intention of doing that. Yeah, I just want you to feel that what is the level that you are in now compared that you were about 2 to 3 weeks ago at the level 9, right? Which level do you think you are now? Xuan gave level 7. Eric also gave level 7, right? Which makes sense, right? But before I continue, I would like to hear from you. Which level do you think you are now?
I think I'm level 7 as well.
Level 7 as well.
Or
Okay,
8.
good. No. 8. Okay, excellent. Now, this is what you see right in front of you is step 1 and step 2. By reading this quickly, I hope this will help you to trigger what you have learned 3 weeks ago. To remember what you have learned 3 weeks ago. All right. You have 5 drawers: measurement-based quantity, derived quantity, scalar and vector quantities, graph. Even you have this short story to help you to remember the 5 drawers in sequence. Then you have the step 2, which give you a little bit of information in more detail compared to just the drawers on what is inside. Okay, I see 2 Jaden now.
Can I leave this meeting because I join your meeting with another guys?
Sure. I see two Jaden now. Yeah. Okay. So now there are these 5 drawers, and these 5 drawers are having a little bit more details on what is inside the drawers, right? So by reading this, you should be able to refresh to a certain extent on what you have learned 3 weeks ago. Right now, there is this link that I sent. Let me just send again. I'm not sure whether you receive it because you joined after I send the link. Okay. This is the animation video. Okay, let me just open it here and see. Put it out. Where is it? Where is the thing? Okay, right.
Chapter 1. Measurements. Me, the bass drummer. Meet Scarlett and Victor riding giraffe. Draw 1. Measurement. Magnet, pull you into matrix.
Okay, this is the drawer 1 story. Magnets pulls you into matrix. Why magnets pulls you into matrix? Those are the keywords, some that represents something for drawer 1. Same goes to drawer 2.
And become Imperial Emperor.
Yeah, Imperial Emperor. Why Imperial Emperor?
Draw 2. Base quantities. Little monkey, take tea in lighted magic.
Right. What is little monkey takes tea in lighted magic? Right. This story is there for a reason. Although it sounds silly and funny sometimes, but these stories are important for us to remember and understand what is in drawer 2.
in lighted magic. Draw 3. Derived quantities. Base plus base.
Okay, base plus base, that is the story. Simple.
Draw 4. Scalar versus vector quantities. Scarlet has magnet. Victor has magnet and compass. Draw 5. Graphs. Popo and me walks in the same direction together into the universe. Interpol joins 2 walks up a slope.
All right, a very short animation video, but it is helping you to remember the story inside each drawer. Right, once you remember the story inside each drawer, then this is the anchoring point for you to be able to remember what is the content in each of the drawer. Right, now let me continue. Imagine that you are going to the IGCSE exam tomorrow. Right, I know Jaden and Eric, you are in year 8 now, but imagine that 3 years later, you're going into an exam, IGCSE, the biggest exam that you are going to face in your school. Yeah. And in order for you to be able to sit for the exam and answer the question well, you need to understand the chapters that is being taught in that subject, right? So for you to be able to do that, you need to have some anchoring point to help you to retrieve the information that is needed to answer the question in the exam hall. So this picture is the anchoring point. Because in the exam hall, you cannot bring this YouTube video to the exam hall. Right? How are you going to bring this? Can you bring the phone in and then start clicking on this link and watch this animated video? You cannot. Right? But can you get an empty paper from the examiner and then draw this out in 1 minute? You can. If you've done this 200 times at home, in the exam hall, you can do it very quickly, maybe even less than 1 minute, right? Once you have drawn this picture, what does it mean? It means that the chapter of measurements and the content that is related to this chapter is clear. You have an anchoring point now. You know there are 5 drawers, and you know that there is this story on each of the drawer, and each of the story represents something that is important in the chapter, right? In the chapter, right? For example, the first one is you are being pulled into a magnet, right? A magnet pulls you, right, into becoming into a matrix, and you become imperial emperor, right? Magnet pulls you. That is representing the magnitude and unit. Magnet pulls you. Magnet sounds like magnitude. U, okay, unit U, right? This will give you some idea that, okay, the drawer 1, there is something related to the magnet, magnitude and unit, which is representing the physical quantities, right? Then there is this metric and imperial emperor. You remember the story, the first drawer, and that is related to the SI unit. Okay, so this will give you an idea what are the information in drawer 1 that you need to know, right? So this is just an anchoring point. This is just an anchoring point. And this anchoring point will help your brain to anchor and to retrieve the informations that is inside this drawer, right? I'm sure inside your brain, drawer 1 doesn't have only these few words. It's more than that, right? It's more than that. But how are you going to retrieve it fast and easier when you have an anchoring point? And what is this anchoring point? The anchoring point is the story. And how do you bring this story into the exam hall? You can only bring it by drawing it out. You cannot bring that animated video, and you cannot be able to write this out. You can, of course, but you will not be able to write this out as efficient as compared to drawing this, right? Because human brain works well or works better using story, not using text. Okay, so that is to prepare you when you are going into exam. But now the next question, which I asked Xuan and also Eric before you come in, Jaden. What is the next question? The question is, now even if you are at level 9 today, right, and tomorrow you are going for exam, do you think that you're going to do well in the exam? I'm not talking about quiz or small exam. I'm talking about IGCSE, where they have different type of exams questions and different format, right, that you need to know and familiarize with. So the answer is, unfortunately, even if you're at level 9 or level 10 today, tomorrow if you sit for the exam, you will not do well. You will not get A, probably you'll not even get B+, right? You're lucky, then you're going to get B. Okay. So how to make yourself exam ready? You need to continue after getting a level, moving yourself or upgrading yourself to level 9. You need to do past year questions. Doing past year questions, past year exam questions, is to make yourself exam ready. And what do I mean by exam ready? To make yourself familiarized with the different format of the question that's being asked in the exam, because this exam that you are sitting is not just one type of format or one type of questions. They are different. They have MCQ, and even MCQ they have different format. Then you have structured. Even structured you have different format. Then they have essay. Even essay they have different formats. Right, so you need to be familiarized with it. You need to be familiarized with the type of format, the type of questions. You need to be familiarized also with what type of answers that is being expected by the examiner when they are checking your answer sheet. All right. So there are two steps here. You need to be at level 9. That is the meaning. That is the prerequisite. Then you need to be exam ready. What we are doing right now is to make you to be level 9. To be exam ready, I never have any class on that yet. Right, to be exam ready is mainly you need to attempt to answer the exam questions, right, the past exam questions, right. But when you're at level 9 and then you do the past question, they will be much easier. But if you're at level 1 and you start to jump into the exam questions, that will be extremely impossible for you to even get anything out of the exam questions, right? To learn anything, nothing, right? So first of all, you need to be at level 9. So this is what we are trying to do here, right? All the classes that we have attended for 2 hours, and I put it up on the YouTube, that will help you to learn a new chapter and move you from level 1 to level 9. That's the first step, right? But then how do you maintain it to level 9? Yes, the answer is revision. Okay, this is what I'm going to teach you how to do revision. Some of you attended this revision class before, but it's okay. We will do it again to explain to you how to do it, right? Now, revision. Let's talk about revisions. I divided them into 4 steps, right? 4 steps. These 4 steps has nothing to do with the 10 steps that we did for the 2 hours, right? It's not exactly the same. Okay, so what are these 4 steps? Step 1 and step 2 are very easy. And what is this? Step 1 is you have to remember the main story for that chapter. For this case, the chapter measurement, the main story is me, the bass drummer, meet Scarlett and Victor riding giraffe. Me, the bass drummer, meet Scarlett and Victor riding giraffe, right? So you can imagine that animation video being generated by AI, right? That you are riding Okay, let me just show you. If you missed it, I don't think you should miss it, but in case you missed it, this one.
Form 4, Chapter 1, Measurements. Me, the bass drummer. Meet Scarlett and Victor riding giraffe. Draw 1.
All right. So this is step 1, easy. If you can write this down, and that would have already completed step 1 of the revisions method. Step 2, drawer name. Right, write down the drawer name in sequence. We know that there are 5 drawers, and you have measurement, you have base quantity, you have derived quantity, you have scalar and vector quantities, and then you have graph. Okay? So once you write this down, done. You completed step 2. Isn't that easy? Now, step 3 is a bit tricky, but it's fine. Okay? It's not as difficult as you think, right? So step 3, you need to remember the drawer of each, the story of each drawer, right? So if you see, there are 5 drawers here, and each drawer is being linked with the story that you just saw in the AI video. Magnet pulls you into matrix and become imperial emperor, which I explained just now. Why magnet? Why you? Why matrix? Why imperial emperor? Right? Then little monkey takes tea in lighted magic. Why? So you remember this base quantity, there are 7 base quantity, which are listed here. Okay? Length, mass, time, temperature, current, light, and substance. Right? Little monkey takes tea is length, L, mass, monkey, time is take, T is temperature. Okay? In lighted magic, why I put I? Because for current, the symbol is I. Do you learn this? Oh, you haven't learned this. This is year 11 physics. But the current, the symbol is I. All the physicians or all the engineers, we remember current by I. Okay? Because there is a formula. P equivalent to VI. Maybe it's not too familiar for you now, but just take I as a current. Then lighted is light. Magic is mole, right? Because mole is more, for now, maybe it's the same problem that you'll be quite confused. Why not S? Why M? But using mole is better for you because we are using mole more than talking about substance. We are talking about the mole more as in the unit, the name of the unit more than substance. This is you're going to learn it in chemistry, right? To measure the substance, the weight of the substance. We call it mole, right? So that is why this little monkey takes tea in lighted magic. Then derived quantity, base plus base. Derived quantity is you need to get the base quantity, then derive it from another base quantity, and then that is the derived quantity. Okay, I hope this is clear. So for example, volume. Volume is length times length times length. So length is a base quantity. So that becomes volume. Density is mass divided by volume. Mass is a base quantity here, right? Number 2, little monkey, the mass. Then we divided by volume. Volume is also being derived from length times length times length. So this is derived quantity. Then scalar and vector quantities. There are scalar quantity is having the magnitude, and vector quantity is having magnitude and direction. That's why I have the story of scalar has magnet, Victor has magnet, and compass. Compass is directions, right? I hope so far everyone is following, especially for the Saudi student. I think it's still early for you. I hope you are able to follow, right? So graph is a bit more complicated than the previous 4 drawers. You have Popo and me, so your grandma, which usually we call Popo. Popo and me walk in the same directions together into the universe. So you can imagine that, right? Okay. Before I go into this interpol, let me just explain the Popo first, the Popo story. Popo and me walks in the same direction together into the universe. In graph, right? In graph, there's this proportional, directly proportional. That means if there are 2 variables, if the variable increase, the first variable increase, the second variable will also increase. So it's directly proportional. So I use Popo to help us to remember there is something that's directly proportional in the graph analysis that you need to know. Then in the same direction means when it increased, the second variable also increased. So it's the same direction. Inversely proportional is into the universe, right? Into the universe, and inversely sounds similar, I would say. So that will also tell us there's another relationship. It's not only proportional, directly proportional, but it's also inversely proportional. Inversely proportional means if the variable increase, the other variable decreases. Okay. Then interpol walks up the slope, right? For the graph analysis, you have this interpolation and extrapolation. Interpolation and extrapolation. Interpolation is to use the data within the data that you have and to predict what is the results. Extra is to use the data outside what the data you have and predict the result. So I use interpol. Interpol is like police, walks up the slope together with us, right? Slope means for the graph, the slope is also giving some analytical analysis informations, right, for the slope, depending on what is the graph that you are talking, you are trying to analyze. Okay. So that is the story. So that is step 3, right? So once step 3 is done, what do you do here, right? There's one thing that you can do, which is what I did with Ren, because I'm also developing these methods. So I did it with Ren. I found something very useful also. When you do this step 3 for drawer 1, so for example, let's take this. Magnet pulls you into the matrix and become emperor. So you already write it down, and then you have to do a game, right? What is the game? Try to explain this drawer 1 to your best friend. Your best friend did not attend BrainDrawer class. So your best friend definitely doesn't know what is this story about. Magnet pulls you into matrix and become imperial emperor. So if you tell your best friend now, what is this story, she or he would not understand you, right? So it's your role to tell her in the physics way what is in the drawer number 1, right? What is in the drawer number? So how do I do that? Let's say now my friend, my best friend is in front of me, and I wanted to teach him what is measurement, right? For drawer 1, I'm going to say Mr. So and so, okay, or let's say his best friend's name is Dr. Wong, okay, Dr. Wong. Dr. Wong is Xuan Xuan's father, and he's also my best friend, okay. So Dr. Wong, do you know what is measurement? Right, measurement is having physical quantities, and the physical quantities is contributed by 2 properties. One is the magnitude. You need to have the magnitude, and you need to have unit. Right. For example, if you are driving 120 kilometer per hour, and that is a physical quantity where you have 120 kilometer per hour, where the 120 is the magnitude and kilometer per hour is the unit. So this gives you some ideas. What is the speed of your car? If I'm only telling you 120, that doesn't give any sense. That makes no sense, right? What is 120? centimeter per second or kilometer per hour or whatever you need, right? So for example, this example, if I tell you the height of a mountain is 4,000, so then you have no idea what is this 4,000. If I say 4,000 meter, okay, then you have no, what is this? How high or how tall is this this mountain, right? So this is how I explain to my friend for this drawer number 1, right? Same goes to drawer number 2. Drawer number 2, base quantity. You can tell, let's say again, Mr. Wong, okay, Dr. Wong. Okay, there are 7 type of base quantity. Do you know that? Then obviously Dr. Wong will say, okay, tell me about it. I didn't know what is these 7 types. Then you can explain. Number 1 is length, based on the little monkey, the L, little. Number 2 is mass, based on the monkey. Number 3 is time, based on the tick. Number 4 is T, based on the temperature, right? So you have length, mass, time, temperature, current, light, substance. So these are the 7 base quantity. If you want to go further, you can explain saying that, okay, Dr. Wong, do you know length unit is meter, as in M, then mass is kilogram, as in kg, and so on and so forth, right? So this will help you to remember, the story help you to remember what is the content of the drawer, and then use that as the anchoring point for you to be able to explain to the person in front of you on what you want to tell about drawer 2. Or you can use this as an anchoring point to write the answers inside the test or exam questions. Okay? So this is what is step 3. Step 3 is the story and also explain it to somebody. Try to teach somebody what you have learned. Okay? Then step 4 is drawing out on the paper, which is this one. All right, drawing out on the paper. So in total, there are only 4 steps. All right, 4 steps for this. Let me just make it bigger. Okay, sorry. This one make it smaller. This one make it bigger. Okay. So in total, there are only 4 steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. Step 4 is to draw this picture. Right. How long do you think it would take for you to do this if you already done this 20 times? I think definitely less than 10 minutes. Right. If you already do it 20 times, this main story, you already know it by heart. The drawer, you also know it by heart. Then the story, if you have done 20 times, you already know it by heart. Okay? And to draw this, you can draw it in less than 1 minute. So how this helps you? How this helps you? Okay? This gives you an anchoring point. An anchoring point not only for your test, and also for you to learn new information related to this chapter. Right. From now until Xuan, you take SPM, or from now until Eric and also Jaden, you take IGCSE. There are still 2 to 3 years to come. Right. So during this time, I'm sure you will continue to learn more from books or from YouTube or from your class in the school. Right. Any new information that you discover during this stage, you can intentionally bring it into your drawer. Right. You can intentionally bring it into your drawer. Right. So that will help you to enrich the content of your drawer more and more as we go before you reach to the stage where you need to go for the exam for IGCSE or SPM. Right. So that is what I've done with Ren. Ren is my boy. I think everyone knows him. Right. And in fact, I do it now. I try to do it every day, 1 chapter. Because this one is only going to take you 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes. For him, maybe 20 minutes, because his attention span is not as high or as strong as you guys, the bigger boys and the bigger girls, right? So he takes about 20 minutes, sometimes even 30 minutes to complete one, right? And I've taught him measurement, Form 4, Chapter 1. I've taught him gravitations, Form 4, Chapter 1. Also, I've taught him the the GCSE chapter that we learned before. We learned sound, we learned light, we learned chemical reactions, we learned cell. You remember all this? Right, I think we learned more than 10 chapters. He also attended it, but not together with your class, with when I have time with him. So I do this every 1 or 2 days, one chapter. So over time, he will be able to grasp the knowledge of science and physics better. That means I'm trying to help him to maintain his level at level 9 always. Okay, I'm sure this is also your goal. If you have a choice to choose, you want yourself to be at level 9 or level 7. If you have to choose and you have the option to choose, of course, you're going to choose level 9. So the next one is how to do it. How to do it is every day, 10 minutes, and run this step 1 until step 4, and that's it. Then the level 9 maintain at level 9. Okay? And that achieve the first goal, level 9. Next step is how to be exam ready. Right? No one will be exam ready for in 2 hours. This class that I have, every chapter 2 hours, is not helping you to be fully exam ready, but it's helping you to be at level 9. To be fully exam ready, you need to be level 9 first. Okay, if you are in level 1 and you want to be fully exam ready by just answering the past year questions, is mission impossible. Okay, it's mission impossible. So there's no shortcut for that. Okay, I hope this is clear. So what we are doing right now is to make you into level 9 for each chapter. This is just one chapter. Okay, this is just one chapter. Okay, I talk too much, I think. Today I talk too much. I'm not sure whether everyone follow me. All right, but I need a feedback. I need a reply if you are following me so far. I think I talked about 1 hour. Yes, Jaden, are you following me so far? Yes, I hope no one put the thumbs up just for the sake of putting up the thumbs. You really understood why revision is important, right? Why revision is important, right? Okay, Xuan, yes. Good, good, okay. So now, let's do a step back. This is the measurement chapter, physics, right? One of the chapter that we have attended from the classes that we had for the past few months. If you realize, if you don't, it's fine, because it's not too late. You are still 2 to 3 years away from your IGCSE. You still have plenty of time to work on it. Okay. If you realize every chapter has this part, if you realize every chapter has this part, what is this part? The story, right? I think you all know that every chapter I have this main story to help you to remember the drawer name in sequence, not just randomly, in sequence, okay? So every chapter we have this, if you realize, okay? And obviously, every chapter we have drawers. That is step 1. Step 1 for the 2 hours, okay? And if you realize, every chapter we have a story, and that is step 6 in the 2 hours, right? And if you realize, every chapter I have this drawing, I have this drawing. And if you realize now, every chapter, I have this very short animation generated by AI. I did not create this, okay? That is helping you to remember this, okay? If you realize. For those who realize, those who have not, and now you come to the realization and you know that, okay? Any chapter that you think is important for you to understand better, because let's say next week you have an exam on sound, right? And then you have to prepare for the sound. You have two ways of preparing for the sound for your next week exam. Either you do it the old way, you take out a book and you try to read these 50 pages about the sound, and also you try to link it with what your teacher is teaching you, right? That is one way, right? And they are not exclusive. This doesn't mean that you do number one and then you do not then you don't do number two. You can do one and two together, right? That is even better. So do this the continue the same way of how you study. What are the notes that you're using? What are the books that you're using to help you to prepare for exam, right? Now there's another way that can help you also to prepare for the exam, which is this way, which is this, right? Which is this. To make you to be at level 9, right? Make you to be at level 9. Preparing for tests, simple tests, level 9 is already good enough. Most likely you can get 30 out of 30 or 25 out of 30 is also considered very good because it's a small test. But if you're going for a bigger exam, then you need to be familiarized with the type of questions and the type of answer that you are expected to answer, right? Right. So that is the exam ready that I'm talking about. But if it is test, you can do this, right? Do this. So any chapter that you feel that is important because you have exam to prepare for next week or even tomorrow, right? You can use this. And this is going to take you less than 10 minutes, right? If you do this consistently, then you are maintaining yourself at level 9. Now, assuming that we are taking another chapter that we learned many months ago, biological cell, right? I'm sure most of you have forgotten. If I ask you which level you are in now, maybe it's level 3 or level 2 or even level 1, right? Biological cell. No one, I believe, will be able to tell me what drawer is in the biological cell now, right? But assuming that you are going to take an exam next week or tomorrow, so what should you do? You can do this. Okay, I'm here to give you solutions. Okay, you can do this. You go to my YouTube channel, you go to video. Every classes that we have attended for the past, I think 7-8 months are all in here. Okay, they're all being divided. They are all being named as the chapter. So let's take cell as an example. Where's cell? Biological processes, not biological cell. Sorry. Right. That was 4 months ago. Right. Imagine that tomorrow you are preparing for an exam, and you are not in level 9. You are not even in level 7, because this was 4 months ago. And from that day until now, you never study and you never do any revision. So obviously your level now is maybe in level 2. Right. So how to bring it up to level 9? Go through this video, and after 2 hours, and I'm confident, and I'm sure you are also confident, you are going to reach level 9. Right. Once you reach level 9, and that's it. We need to be level 9 to be able to be ready for tests, small tests. To be ready for IGCSE exam, you need to be at level 9, and then you need to do past year questions to be exam ready. But don't worry about that, because you are 2 to 3 years away from that. So you still have plenty of time. But I'm sure from now until the near future, you have many tests, many small exams that you need to do well in your schools. These are the ways, these are the videos that we have recorded, right? If it is related to force and motion, this is Form 5, okay, it's not related to you. Or if related to chemistry separation techniques, I think Jaden, you have an exam for that. You can view this, right? Biological cell, right? So biological cell is the one that I mentioned, not the process. Process is another chapter, right? That is 2 months ago. All right, then there you have a different chapter like sound. Okay, you have light, right? And we also study gravitations, about the satellite, about the centripetal forces, right? About the escape velocity, right? Then this is the measurement. So this is how you are able to prepare yourself for tests. Okay, so let me do a conclusion. I've talked too much, and I think enough for me to explain already. I'll just do a conclusion. Today, scenario number 1, Eric, who is a student that is at level 1 for chapter sound. Tomorrow, he has to take a small test about sound. What does he need to do? He needs to go into this and find the sound, where's sound, okay? And it's only 1 hour and 46 minutes. After you finish the 1 hour and 46 minutes, you will be in level 9. For sure. I think you believe in this, okay? There's no doubt. The result is very consistent because every time you finish that chapter, you are at level 9, okay? So Eric, who was level 1, 2 hours later, now level 9. And then tomorrow, he's ready for the test for sound. If your test is including a few chapters, then you have to run this for a few chapters. Let's say your test is including sound for GCSE, and also chemistry separation, and also biological processes, and also biological cell. Similar to what Jaden's exam. I think you have quite a few chapter you need to cover, right? And if you think that you are in a lower level, level 1, level 2, level 3, and then spend these 2 hours per chapter to make yourself to level 9. And then I think you are ready for the test. I'm talking about test, okay? Exam is another story. Okay, that is scenario number 1. Scenario number 1. For this, Eric. For Xuan, let's take about scenario number 2. Okay? Scenario number 2 is a student who wants to maintain at level 9 all the time. Whether there is a test or there is no test, she just wants to maintain at level 9 all the time. Then what is the solution? The solution is revision method. And this revision method, if you do it so many times, it's going to be less than 10 minutes. Right, from step 1 until step 10, until step 4, less than 10 minutes. 10 minutes is not something super long, right? It's very short. Every day, 1 chapter, 10 minutes. If you are hardworking, you can do 2 chapters. So it's only 20 minutes every day. What I'm trying to do now with Ren is every day, 10 minutes, 1 chapter, right? And that will maintain your level 9 consistently until forever, if you do it forever, obviously, right? So that is student type 2. So we have type 1 student who is going for a test tomorrow. We have type 2 student who just want to maintain at level 9, right? Type 3 student, type 3 student maybe is not too relevant to you yet, but let me just also explain it. Type 3 student is the student like Jing Sam, okay, or not Jing Sam, like let's say one of your brother or one of your sisters who is taking IGCSE this year, okay, or who is taking SPM this year. IGCSE is already in the exam. They are doing exam right now, so it's not a good example. Let's say SPM. SPM is in November, so they only have about 5 months to prepare. Okay, so there's scenario number 3. Let's say Jaden is the student who is preparing for SPM in 5 months time. So what should you do? Right, number 1, you need to have all the chapters to be at level 9. How to do that? This is what we have been doing, right? Either you start from 0, after 2 hours you'll be at level 9, then you maintain it at level 9 using this revision for the next 5 months. Okay, you need to maintain at level 9. But you have to do one more thing. You have to do past year questions to make yourself familiarized with the exam questions for SPM or IGCSE, the big final exam questions, right? And over these 5 months, you have to do that. There's no way that you can stop, right? Okay. So that is student number type 3. So we have Eric as type 1, Xuan as type 2, Jaden as type 3. I think the type 1 and type 2 is more relevant to you, every one of you here, compared to type 3. But type 3 is important for you to think. Okay, what is the plan that you need to plan for yourself when you reach 2 years later or 3 years later for the exam, IGCSE and SPM. Okay, I see Xuan is typing. I'm not sure what she has in mind. Right. I think more or less today's class is clear. Right. More or less today's class is clear. Right. I hope you guys understand the message for today's class. And with this, you know which type of student you are in now. All right. And moving forward, which part in the step 1 and step 10 you need to pay attention on. Right. You need to pay attention on. Okay. So end of the day, treat me as a facilitator to teach by teaching you or by guiding you from step 1 until step 10. Right? I'm just a facilitator. I'm not your physics teacher. I'm not your science teacher. If you realize I did not teach you science as much as your science teacher, I only facilitate you to follow now, do step 1, step 2, step 3, and so on until step 10. Right? But most importantly, when you reach step 10, you're able to get 10 out of 10 MCQ question correct, or even 9 out of 10 is already a superb result. Okay, in just 2 hours. So the result is very consistent. So I hope this will give you a confident level on this study method. Is going to help you in your studies, right? In your studies. And I think that's it. That's it for today. Any questions? Any question? Right? Type 1 student, type 2 student, type 3 student. And then what you need to do is all being explained over this 1 hour session. If you miss it or if you want to watch it again, it's all in my YouTube channel. Okay? No more question, then we will call it a day for today. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.